Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I wanted to start here. Eleanor Terrett had tweeted this out that today Bill Huizenga from Congress passed the Accredited Investor Definition and Review Act, which revises who may be considered an accredited investor for purposes of participating in IPOs. Specifically, the bill would require SEC to update the list of certifications, including millionaire requirement that an investor must satisfy to qualify as an accredited investor. The ability to participate in private offering should not be limited to individuals that pass some type of federal government assets test. Exactamundo. This would be a game changer for companies like Link2, my sponsor. And speaking of Link2, what you're looking at is the Chainalysis website. Chainalysis is one of those companies that can go and they help in crime prevention where crypto's involved in all of this. I've said for a long time, this is what they need. They could do this tomorrow or today. They could do this on the Ethereum ICO to find the disguised whales. Follow the money. They trace transactions across blockchains. Present your case. These guys could literally push a button and find out every single disguised whale from the Ethereum ICO. And Link2 is adding Chainalysis. Actually, they're going to have Chainalysis private equity on they're adding it today onto the Link2 platform. That's one I might even look into. I don't know what it's going to be priced at yet, so I'm going to check that out today. The link to that's in the top of the description. Now, check this out. This is Anthony Scaramucci on CNBC talking about the SEC suing Binance.
What do you make of this SEC action? Is it justified or unjustified?
Well, listen, I'm not close enough to be able to declare whether it's justified or unjustified. I think there are three levels of analysis here, though. The macro analysis is that the SEC has decided, Brian, that they want the United States out of crypto assets, digital assets in general, and they want to more or less make these exchanges unlawful here in the United States. That could be the aftermath of the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX story and the embarrassment that he caused, because as you and I both know, he was very close to getting margin approval from the CFTC. And one short year ago, he was a media and political darling in Washington. So I think you've got a big macro headwind for.
Why is nobody asking, why was he about to get margin approval? Why Sam Bankman-Fried? Why were all these government agencies picking him the same way they picked Joseph Lubin and Consensus and Ethereum? Why do they keep picking the guys who end up to be shady as they can be to work with? It makes me wonder if they want the shady guys to be exposed for being shady so they can put a cloud over the entire industry. I can't figure it out. I can spot shady a mile away. I can watch a few Joseph Lubin videos, a few Ethereum videos, and I can spot shady a long ways away. Why can't our government, or can they? Moving along. Speaking of shady, Jeremy Hogan called some things. This is from a while back. Listen to this.
Is the SEC likely to go after the Binance coin as a security? Well, Binance already has a history with U.S. regulators, and the issue was that Binance was never designed to even operate in the U.S., but U.S. consumers, being very savvy and smart, found a way around that, and were trading on Binance by making friends with a person in China who would make the trades for them. Just kidding. We were using VPN routers to mask our location. Now, imagine that, U.S. citizens having to act like we are in China in order to engage in capitalism. In any case, Binance recently launched Binance US and submitted to our government regulation. As of 2 hours ago, you can buy, sell Binance coin on the US site, so we can analyze it under the Howey test. First, is there investment of money? Yes, you buy the coins. And where did the coins come from? Well, Binance had a genuine initial coin offering an ICO in 2017. Now, this is the exact thing that Chairman Clayton and new SEC Chairman Gensler have basically said is an investment contract. And here's how that looked. There you can see that the founders of Binance received 40% of the tokens and are now billionaires. 50% was sold to the public. Ostensibly, some of that was sold to American investors, and 10% went to angels. Not that type of angel. I think actually angels might be code for bribe money in China. In any case, this is not looking good, and to make matters worse, the control of the Binance coin is very centralized. In fact, in order to maintain the value of the coin, Binance buys back and burns coins every quarter, and even said in its white paper that the purpose of doing so was to keep the coins scarce and valuable. So there was an investment of money made to build and upgrade the platform and exchange. There is a common enterprise in which Binance is actively involved in promoting the coin and increasing its value. The only thing that Binance has going for it is that it's a utility token and will gain value from its utility. But even that is tied to the centralized Binance platform, and that meets the third prong of the Howey test. For those reasons, we have lots of strong arguments that the Binance coin is a security, and it gets an 8.5 legal brief.
All right, now look, he's got that Tether's an 11 out of 10 danger rating. So this is kind of what I think Binance would be if the SEC and the U.S. government's trying to kill crypto in the United States. Binance is a big shot. But then Tether would be another huge shot to take Tether out. But the kill shot would be for Satoshi Nakamoto. Oh, all of a sudden we know who Satoshi, because we know they know. Remember that video where Homeland Security said that they met with the 4 Satoshis? Remember there's another part of that video that we've shown before where it says they acknowledged that there was 2 people from the SEC in the room when that Homeland Security agent said that they had met with the 4 Satoshis. Our government knows who it is. The kill shot would be to kill Bitcoin, and it wouldn't be hard to kill. The way you would kill it is out of nowhere. Now we figured out who Satoshi is, because then you've got a central authority. Then all that commodity stuff is a bunch of crap. And it might even explain why they wanted everybody to think it was some great thing. Because if you wanted to bring in crypto that would be more centralized and controllable, you got to kill Bitcoin first. That's what I'd be thinking about. Now, this is interesting. This is something that was missed. This is a slide that was going around a long time ago. And this person right here, right here. You know what's interesting? Check out the creator of the slide. Watch this. So the slide was called "A Big Shift is in Motion." The largest Tier 1 custodians invest in infrastructure to safeguard the market, triggering a virtuous cycle of adoption. This shift creates new regulatory standards, banks setting up the gold standard of compliance practices. Wave 1 would be shadow crypto finance, which is a lot of the shady stuff, in my opinion. Not all, but that's wave 1. But wave 2 is when it becomes banks and regulated financial institutions, and it has all the traditional banks sitting there, folks. Okay, but look who's on the slide. Who would have an incentive to create this slide? Who would be doing the custody for these large banks? Well, one of them is who Ripple just bought, who is actually the creator of the slide, and that would be Metaco. And you know what another one would be? Polysign, also on the Link2 platform. I just happened to bump into this little clip from Greg Kidd, who was one of the first 10 people at Ripple, who's a billionaire, who used to be at the Federal Reserve. This is from a month ago.
I did spend some time at the Federal Reserve in the payments group, figuring out what works and doesn't work about the U.S. financial system, and was really excited when crypto came along to build a new set of rails for the world.
Man, the way he said that, it was almost as if it was hatched out of the Federal Reserve. Anthony Welfare, come and see Ripple team at Money 2020 in Amsterdam. So Ripple has a setup there in Amsterdam today. Eleanor Terrett clarified a couple of things. Some questions as to why SEC did not name XRP as a security token in Binance lawsuit. According to some of my legal sources, it could be one or all of a couple of reasons. One, SEC wants to stay away from risking inconsistent decisions. Two, it's already being litigated and referenced in other lawsuits. Why inject XRP into a dispute and open up potential discovery issues? Three, if Ripple wins, strategically it weakens SEC's case against Binance in the eyes of the public, Congress, and the press. So that's the one that I think is most likely. You put XRP in there, then you lose the XRP case, and all of a sudden your Binance case doesn't have as much credibility. Meta Lawman says this is interesting, the SEC complaint against Binance appears to solve the mystery of why Brian Brooks abruptly resigned as CEO of Binance US in 2021. CZ allegedly reneged on the promises that Brooks would be given autonomy to run Binance US independently from Binance. The complaint cites an unnamed source who ran Binance US briefly in 2021. We know from the dates the complaint that the source must be Brian Brooks, who ran Binance. The complaint quotes testimony Brian Brooks that Brooks gave about his brief stint as CEO. Brooks testified, "I realized, I'm not actually the one running this company. The mission that I believe I signed up for isn't the mission. And as soon as I realized that, I left." The quick departure was a wise move by Brooks. He was able to exit with his reputation intact and not be a target. But the one that's even more interesting was Catherine Coley, who she was with Ripple, then went to become the CEO of Binance. And I think that she was before Brian Brooks. Then she left and he came in, and when she left, she disappeared and hasn't been seen since. She is missing to this day. Nobody knows where she is. There's some strange things in crypto. Eleanor Tarrant, I've never seen the SEC. This is a quote from her anonymous source. I've never seen the SEC attempt to try a case in the court of public opinion. Usually they wait until after a case is settled to brag. A former SEC official who wished to remain anonymous. Do you think the SEC is sensationalizing the case before it goes to court? Because the SEC had put this out. This is a quote from the Binance chief compliance officer in 2018. "We are operating as an effing unlicensed securities exchange in the USA, bro." Now, folks, you know, we've all given Gary Gensler and the SEC a hard time, but nobody that I know has ever had a problem with anybody being regulated. It's just when the regulators are going rogue and they're, you're letting somebody go for 10 years and then you're coming after them and you're letting all these investors that you claim to want to protect, and that's your number one mission, but you've just by virtue of suing the people 10 years later, you're hurting those investors. And then when you file the lawsuit, you're hurting them again. And so this is the stuff that doesn't make any sense. But if anybody's doing anything fraudulent or really bad, don't wait. How long did the SEC know that this guy said this before they filed this lawsuit? Don't wait. Let these investors you're supposed to be protecting know. I mean, there's no faithful allegiance to the law. That's the problem, folks. And there's no repercussions to these people for not having a faithful allegiance to the law, which is their whole job. Possibly the most important part of the SEC's versus Binance case, he's got it right here. The SEC is seeking a temporary and preliminary injunctive relief, including but not limited to asset freezes, a verified accounting repatriation of assets. They're trying to shut Binance down completely, folks. Now, Charles Hoskinson went on a video yesterday after this lawsuit dropped because Cardano was named as a security in the Binance lawsuit. Now, remember back when he called us all grand conspiracy people, right? Well, now the shoe's on the other foot.
Choke point 2.0 is a thing. We see it across the whole industry, from speedy banks being rejected accounts to basically everything becoming a security now, I guess. Choke point 2.
I listened to his whole video, and I can tell you this. He was floating some grand conspiracies himself, some worldwide conspiracies about the changing world order and all this. And you know what? Charles Hoskinson was wrong when he said that what he said, just to remind you, what he said was that he said point blank that we were all out here saying that there's some grand conspiracy, that the entire SEC there was this grand conspiracy at the entire SEC, and we never said that. And that's what we challenged him on. We didn't say that the entire SEC was this grand conspiracy. We were very specific about what was going on there and who was involved. We had names, we had parties that were at meetings. We were very specific, but he tried to just throw this big lasso around it, and he wasn't being genuine when he did that. He was not being honest, because that's never what any of us were saying. And so we called him out, and he had a temper tantrum, and he was wrong. And I'll say it again, he was wrong. Universal basic income to be trialed in England. I warn anybody who accepts this right here, folks, nothing's for free in life. This right here is the road to serfdom, folks. This is the road to you don't own anything, but you're going to be happy, okay? You start accepting free anything from the government, and there will be strings. Just like my son accepts gas money from me. He accepts a roof over his head, and there are strings attached to that. You're going to have to do certain things when you live under my house, under my roof. You're going to have to, and I know that's a cliche that the parents saying, as long as you're living under my roof. Well, it's true. As long as you're living under the government's roof and you're receiving universal basic income or welfare or anything else, there's going to be strings attached. This is a bad road to go down, period. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family to take universal basic income and shove it, because that is